your seventh album, Turbo Ponka Party, has just been released. How have the reactions been so far?
Well, to be honest, because of the band's breakup, I didn't check for the reactions that much, but there were lots of people writing me that it's a really cool album and they like certain songs and people told me that it's one of the best Russkaja albums that we ever did. So I'm happy with it.
Yeah, and it is. I really love this album. Now, Russkaja have developed a very unique sound throughout the years. How do you mix all these different influences in your songs?
Well, well, everyone in the band likes different style of music, and we're all like we're very interested in putting all together. So this was something that was in that band from the beginning, and I think that with every album we tried to go into a certain direction, a little bit more here and a little bit more there, and as I'm the main songwriter in the band, and with this album, um, I used to listen to a lot of stuff that I grew up with, which was rock and heavy stuff.
Mhm.
So I wanted to really have like heavy riffs and halftime parts and crushing drums and mix that stuff with the klezmer style melodies. And I think besides that, I also wanted to have it like have really strong songs with cool strong hook lines and choruses. And when I listen to Turbo Polka Party now, I think I did it kind of well.
Yeah, you sure did. And how do you mix your Russian and Ukrainian influences in your songs in these heavy parts? Do you have like a special process for this mixing?
Well, after all these years, it's just totally natural for us. So we have a bass player from Ukraine, and we have a singer that was born in Russia, and then we also have a saxophone player coming from Italy, you know.
Yeah.
So and the violin player is from Germany. Me, I'm from Austria, and so it's just natural for us to like
Yeah.
mix all that stuff together.
Yeah, and despite having all these different influences that are not metal per se, Ruskaya have quite very heavy songs. You know, like Shapka as one of the sickest riffs I remember. You know, and it's really incredible to see all those little things connect. Um, Composition-wise, did you change anything from your previous records?
Yeah, I changed a lot, because the first thing is that, like I said, I was listening to lots of heavy music, especially when I wrote that riff in Shapka, also the whole song in Shapka. I was listening to lots of 90s like and 90s music and stuff like that, and I really love like Brazilian music, but not only bossa nova and samba like the classic,
Hmm.
which are also cool, but there are so many great stuff from the 90s like Chico Science and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
I was listening to that kind of stuff. So I think if you compare the intro riff of Shapka with the snare drum, and then you go on YouTube and you check out a little bit of Chico Science stuff, I think you will know what I mean, because there is that certain groove that's moving in there and the repeating riff like that. I think like Max Cavalera, when he started to do the records KOCD and Roots with Sepultura,
Hmm.
I think he did a similar things, like
Yeah.
mixing mixing that rhythmic stuff with those heavy riffs with like two or three notes, which I really love.
Hmm.
And the second thing is, this time for this record, not only did I do the songwriting and the producing, which I always did, this I also recorded it myself in my studio, and I also mixed the whole record. So it's like from start to finish, it was just me, like taking my own, and also with Napalm Records, they were really great. They were not telling me what to do songwriting wise or mixing wise. They were just happy with what I delivered, and I think it turned out really cool.
Yeah, and it's curious because your last album wasn't released on Napalm, but your album before that, before No One Is Illegal, was. What made you skip that album from Napalm Records?
Well, the story was we had a contract for three albums with Napalm Records, and then the contract just ended, and we got the offer from a major label, from a German major label, to do an album with them, and we said, well, let's try this, yeah, and they wanted to hook us up with some hit producers from northern Germany
Mhm.
to make our sound a little more accessible. And like Georgie and me, Georgie is our singer. We were really up for the idea because we had made records, like lots of them, and so we said, well, why not try and see
Yeah.
where we can go with our sound. But then when we made the record, like in the middle of the production, we felt that it wasn't kind of right, you know.
Mhm.
So when the record was released, there's some cool songs, but overall we were not really happy with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and when we're on tour, like in 2019 with that album, I already wrote new songs for the next record because I felt, okay, now I know what the next Russkaja record should sound like. So I had that idea,
Mhm.
not to make it more accessible, but to
Yeah.
make it more heavy, more riff driven, and just actually just do what I would like to hear on a Russkaja record.
Yeah, also because No One Is Illegal, you had some songs that were co-written by members from outside the band, right? I think Hannes Brown wrote some songs with you, right?
Yeah, and those were the hit producer team that the label
Hmm.
brought us to. So they said, okay, why don't you write your songs with them and see if they get a little more
Yeah.
accessible and stuff like that. And some of the stuff I think was really cool, but there's other stuff that we weren't really happy with. So it,
Hmm.
it was a kind of natural step for me to like change direction and do everything myself here.
Yeah. And now, moving back to Turbo Ponka Party, this is the first album and the only album, I think, on which you sing, right?
Well, actually, I'm not sure if I did something in the past, but I definitely did never do that much vocals on a Russkaja record. You
Yeah,
know, I
what my.
I, I
Yeah,
also
go
had
ahead.
I had lots of other bands, like in the past, like 10 years ago. I had
Hmm.
a grindcore hardcore punk band where I was the frontman. I did all the screaming and the guitar playing.
Hmm.
I was the frontman there. And still to this day, I have a little blues rock trio where I do stuff like maybe
Yeah.
ZZ Top, a little more modern, but also like down-tuned riff stuff, and I'm singing there as well. So this time on this record, it came naturally.
Yeah, but was it something like was something wrong with your other singer? Like that he
No,
couldn't sing some
no,
things and you help?
no, it's just when I'm doing the demos, when I'm writing songs and I'm doing the
Hmm.
demos for that single. So when I bring them to our singer, like there's a song I'd like to do. I think it's cool. There's already everything on there. So everything
Yeah.
I have, like maybe I have like a full verse and the chorus, and the only thing that's missing is like a second verse or something. So everything that's already there, I will sing on the demo. And sometimes Georgie says to me, "Okay, this part you did there in the demo, it's just totally right, so we'll keep that." So like
Hmm.
I think it was like this in Pashli, like the last single that came out.
Yeah.
I'm doing the second verse there, and that's the second verse that I also had in the demo because it's in German. And he said, well, it's just right,
Hmm.
just perfectly right the way you sing it. Why not keep it? And when I say, okay, I think the idea is cool too, then we just keep it.
Yeah. It sounds right. Now, lyrically, what does this album talk about?
Well, mostly when I write stuff for Russkaja, or when I wrote stuff for Russkaja, because this was the last record, which is
Yeah,
a pity
it
because I,
is.
I I would have loved to play those songs live.
Yeah, I think they would be very much great concerts, you know.
Yeah. Usually when I wrote stuff for Russkaja, I would say it's like 80% is about party, having a good time, having a few drinks and dancing and enjoying music and stuff like that, which is like just, you know, like lyrics about unity and just
Yeah,
being yourself and enjoying yourself to the music and stuff like that. And it was always with Ruskaya that like the last 20% I want to tackle some more serious stuff, and this time I I chose it to be the opening track with no borders, no wars, because I
hmm
really wanted to make a statement. And most of the songs for this record, I wrote them before the war even started with Ukraine, like Russia and Ukraine, and this one I wrote like 1 or 2 months after Russia started that war, because I
yeah,
it was just what I felt at that moment. I just couldn't believe that it's still possible in the year 2022 in Europe to start a war like that.
yeah.
I thought those times are over, all right, and I learned
Everyone did really.
it's just the same fucking thing all over, you know.
Yeah,
I thought like mankind is evolving. Turns out it isn't. It's the same shit like 70 years ago.
yeah,
So I wrote that song to make a clear statement, you know.
yeah. And you clearly did. Not only with that song, but also with the selling of the shirt from that song, right? On the
Yeah,
profit from that shirt is going to Ukrainian refugees.
yeah, right. Because you know, writing a song is cool, but I think it's not enough, and we wanted to do something more. So we wanted to like raise some money for the refugees from there. You know, my own family here in Austria, we took a girl that flew
Yeah,
from Ukraine, and she's here now, and you know we're friends, and she's here, and she came to a concert with my blues rock trio, and she enjoyed it, and
hmm
you know we want to
yeah,
take care. Russkaya was always a band uh, that stands for unity and peace and stuff like that. So,
yeah. And how much money have you raised so far?
but actually, I don't know. I think it's a few thousand euros right now.
hmm Yeah,
So
but it's probable that it continues to grow now that the album was also released. Now, where can the viewers buy that shirt?
I think they're on our website. I think if you go to russkaya.com, there should be like a link to a shop,
hmm
and you can buy the shirt there, and you know everything, all the income from the selling goes to this institution called Volkshilfe, and they help the refugees.
Yeah, it was a great idea. I'm also going to put the link in the description of the video once I publish the video, so it's easier for to see.
Cool
Um,
thing.
Now, going back to Turbo Poker Party, one thing I found curious that Baila is those lyrics are written in Spanish, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, why did you decide to write those lyrics in Spanish?
you know we always had some songs in Spanish. There was
Yeah, like
El Pueblo
Energia
Unido.
too, right?
No, I think Energia has
Or
nothing
at least the
Spanish
name is in
in it.
Spanish, I think.
Yeah. And El Pueblo Unido, La música es nuestra religión is
Yeah,
also in Spanish language. And I wanted to do this again on this album, and Baila was one of those songs, and also Señales. I had the
yeah, also
chorus
to me, yeah.
of Señales. I had in my head like just in the moment I wrote the news. I had the lyrics and the vocal line in
hmm
my head as well. So I think the
So,
rest of it is German. It's only the chorus here.
yeah, and you also written you also wrote these lyrics in Spanish.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Spanish is like I will have to let them correct. Like our singer Georgie knows Spanish
hmm
well, and we have some friends who are like native speakers, so we give him those lyrics,
yeah,
and they will sort it out then.
yeah. It's a great idea also because it opens your Spanish market too, and it should have in the
Well,
past at least, not now because yeah.
Yeah, now it's over. So you know, it was like that in the past, but we never intended to. It was fun because
Hmm.
we just said, okay, let's do some Spanish songs, and Georgie loves Spanish because he learned it in school back in Soviet Union. And then suddenly, like a few years after, we released El Pueblo Unido on, I think it was the record, Peace, Love, and Russian Roll. A few years after, we had some questions from Spain to if we can play concerts there and come to festivals, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
Like once we played a show in Madrid in Spain, and everybody was singing along that song. Everybody knew every word.
Yeah. It's incredible. I think you never crossed the border to Portugal, did you?
Well, we did, but we didn't play a show there. They
Yeah.
just brought us to the airport. I think it was in Porto,
Hmm.
and from there we flew somewhere. So, but I've been to
Yeah.
Lisbon. I think 10 years ago, maybe 12 years ago, like holiday.
Yeah, but the touring you that's the idea I had. You never came here touring, which is a pity, I think.
I would
Um,
have loved, of course.
yeah, it would have been great. Now, as you were saying, Senales have some words in Spanish, and it has, I guess, it has on the fly and making a little rap part in the middle, right?
Yeah, yeah, and also in the chorus, there's a little line that is sung by Olli, which is one of the singers. They have two
Hmm.
singers, left lie. The one is Schmidl, and the other one is Olli. And Olli is singing in the chorus, and Schmidl is doing the second verse. Those guys are great. If you don't know them, check them out. So we also did a feature on their new album. The song
Hmm.
is called Señorita Bam Bam.
Okay.
So and we love that band and we love those guys, and so I wanted to have them on that album as well. So I sent them the song Señales when I had it in a like a rough demo version,
Hmm.
and I sent it to them and asked them if it's cool, if they like them, and
Hmm.
they said yes. So
Yeah, and I'm definitely going to check them out. Now, where did you get this idea to have a rap part in the middle of the song?
that's just Schmidl is a hip hop artist and he's a rap guy and he does it very
Hmm.
very well. And I think they also tried at some point they tried some singing stuff, and I said, well, I I imagined some rap stuff with a drum beat behind and no guitar and stuff like that. And then
Hmm.
Schmidl tried the rap part, and it was just perfect. So I went with that.
Yeah, it was a great idea too. Now, besides LaFly, you also have some other guests. Can you present them to us and say what you were trying to reach by inviting them?
You know, we have Micha Rein from the German really well-known band In Extremo, and we know those guys for years now, and they always were really really nice to us. So we became friends, and they invited us to play shows with them a lot.
Hmm.
And also we were invited to do a feature for their last album. There is a song called Gogia where Georgie, our singer, is doing some vocals, and I played some. I don't even remember. I played some I don't know, some weird stringed instruments, like two or three of them, and played some melodies, stuff like that. And they really loved it. They also used it in their album teaser. When I saw it on Instagram, and
Yeah.
the music in the background they used, it was the part that I played on that string instrument. And since we were friends, we thought it would be cool to have Micha singing on Olga von der Volga, which he did a really great job on it. Love that song. And the second story is a little different because with Benji Webby from Skindred, um, I know those guys from festivals, but we never really talked. You know, we
Yeah.
don't know them personally. But I'm a fan of Benji since I'm a teenager because because I think it was in 1998 when the first Soulfly record came out, and I checked it out and I loved that record, and Benji was doing a feature there of 2 songs, and when I heard that voice, I said to myself, "Wow, I gotta check." Looked up in the, it was the 90s. There was no internet,
Yeah.
so I looked up in the booklet, and I checked for the guy's name, and then I checked who is his band, and he had this band Club War in the 90s, which rock, and they split up in, I think, in 99 or 2000, and then he went on to form Skindred, which I also love. So I think he's one of the best singers out there. He can scream, he can rap, he can sing just great, and he's just a cool guy. So we just hit him up and asked him if he's up for us, and I sent him the demo of the song I had. And then he got back to us and said, "Well, cool. I really love the song. It's great. So let's do it." So I'm happy to have like a teenage, it's like a
Yeah, it's a
teenage
teenage
fan
dream.
moment, teenage dream to have it on our record. So it's really cool.
Yeah, and I think the songs turned out better that way than they would have been without those guests. Now,
Yeah,
in Turbo Ponka Party, you also have a cover of Last Christmas by Wham. Why
yeah.
did you decide to make a cover of this song?
Also read German Metal Hammer with the question in it. Why would they release like a Last Christmas cover in February? But of course, nobody knows the real story behind it, because um, Russkaja, we were also, but we were like a house band in an Austrian TV show. It's like
Mhm.
a late night comedy show, and and I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, in the last episode before Christmas, I said to my friends, "Well, I want us to do like the most hated Christmas song of all, and turn it into our own style metal polka song." And then we did it in the TV show, and people really enjoyed the song. So I said, I'm gonna record it when I'm recording the rest of the album in my studio. So I also recorded that song, and when the label heard it, they said, "Well, that's a fine version, so why not put it on the record?"
Yeah, and it
But
was
we
also a
didn't.
single.
It was also single, and I wanted to have it the DIY video, which was really funny. But we did not know that their album will be released like after Christmas in February. Usually, we
Yeah.
had the plan to release it somewhere in November or something. So the whole album should have come out in So
Yeah.
it's just too late, but it's still fun, so we kept it.
Yeah, and how do you turn that Christmas classic into a Ruskaya song?
Sorry.
What kind of arrangements did you do to that song?
Well, actually, we made it heavy, of course, and we turned it in a like a chuguda chuguda chuguda, like a kopiklani polka kind of stuff. And I wanted it to have the tuba featured, because it's like a very fun instrument, like bum, 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 bum. And I think it fits the song, because it's, of course, it's satirical.
Yeah.
And then I also did on that song. I also did the screaming stuff. Like you can hear scream parts in the background, and they were all done by me.
Hmm. Yeah. And I think that cover turned out to be better than the original song. You know.
Yeah. So from now, there's an alternative.
Yeah. Now, as you already said, sadly, this is your last album in Ruskaya, but I don't think you are going to quit music, right? I mean, you're going to keep writing.
Well, of course, I will not quit music, because I was always making music and playing music, and for a few years now, I have my own studio, and I'm already producing other bands and other artists as well. So of course, I will not quit making music, and I also will always be like a guitar player. But I know where your question will go. I have
Yeah.
no plans right now.
None.
So it was really
Yeah.
we decided this. We decided this on a really short term because, of course, we were struggling with all those questions since 1 year since the war started.
Yeah,
We always thought that we would find a way because we thought that people know for what we stand,
yeah,
and we thought we could do this, but like the pressure got too big, and also it just didn't feel right. So we just had to we just had to stop it now before the
yeah.
tour.
Because as I remember correctly, you also had some haters saying that you were supporting the Russian government and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, they called us like you, you can't believe it. They call us like Russian propaganda and Russian terrorists and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just because, of course, we were always playing with that satirical style
Mhm.
of a Soviet image and stuff like that because our singer was born in Russia, but he's living in Austria for 30 years now, I think even more. And
Yeah.
nobody here is supporting like Russia, or nobody wants blood to be shed and stuff like that. And suddenly people think every word we sing is about like war and crime and stuff like that, but it was never intended to be like that.
Yeah.
Also, they they just they took lyrics that we wrote 10 years ago or 12 years ago and say we cannot
Yeah.
sing this
Completely
now.
out of context.
Yeah. So they even tried to turn No Borders into a Russian propaganda song. Well, that takes
Yeah.
some fantasy, my friend,
Yeah.
because I wrote in the chorus, no nations, no fighting. Of course,
Yeah.
like this is like a hippie lyric, like
Hmm.
if there wouldn't have been borders like 3,000 years ago and not all those systems
Yeah.
that
No
we
wars would
like,
ever exist.
yeah, because that's we're equal all the same. We're all like humans,
Yeah,
but they
but
turned around, like
yeah,
people
but
turned around those lyrics and said, when I say no nations, and when our singer Georgie, who was born in Russia,
yeah,
sings this, they think we wanted to say that Ukraine shouldn't be a nation or something, which is like really crazy.
yeah,
Our bass player is from Ukraine. Why would we do that?
yeah. You know what they say. Haters gonna hate. It's like that the new Pink Floyd logo with I'm not sure if you saw that with the rainbow and people saying that they were supporting the LGBT community and stuff like that. I'm not sure if you
Yeah,
saw that.
but what is wrong with that?
Yeah, exactly,
Then let it look like LGBTQ. It's fine with me. Fuck those ignorant fucking haters.
exactly.
We also
Yeah,
had in the No Borders video, we had the guy who did it from England. He put in
hmm,
those flags with the LGBTQ rainbow colors, and people in the comments, they were just disgusting.
yeah.
What's wrong with those guys?
Yeah, and now that you mentioned the videos, those videos are also very creative. Were you also responsible for doing them?
Well, for the No Borders video, I wanted it to do with Yuppie Jupsen again because he did some great videos years ago,
Hmm.
and I think the only real input I gave him was before he started drawing all this stuff. I said, because he asked me for some ideas, and I said, why don't you take some of that shitty war stuff, like the cruel stuff, like weapons and bombs and stuff like that, and in the video it should be morphing into some like colored friendly stuff or peaceful stuff,
Hmm.
because it's an anti-war song, and I and then he did it that way, that like all the all the weapon stuff, it was really dark colors, and then it
Yeah,
morphs into some really colorful stuff. But all that stuff, it was done by him, and then we did some minor changes, and then it was
yeah.
fine.
It was great work. Now I'm going to have to stop you because it's already time to finish the interview. So I'm just, thank you, Engel. I mean, it was an honor to be talking to you. It was a really great talk. Would you like to send any message to your Portuguese fans?
Well, Russkaja is not anymore, but maybe sometime, somewhere, I see all our fans again with another band or something like that. So I want to wish everyone peace on earth. That's the most important thing.